One ring to rule them all.
There is no scream, no fire, no fall. Frodo stands on the edge of the crack of doom and chooses not to let go. Whether it's the ring's corruption, a failed attack by Gollum, or a slip in time itself, the result is the same. The ring survives, and so does Sauron, and in that moment he knows. Tolkien writes that Sauron would have immediately become aware of the ring's presence and taken shape again, not in months, not in days, instantly. His eye turns, his power surges, his armies march. Barad-dûr, already towering and terrible, would pulse with fresh life, no longer just a fortress, but a channel for his will. Because the ring was never just a weapon, it was Sauron himself scattered into metal. Reuniting with it would be like a severed soul reknitting, the missing piece that gives him total dominion again. Tolkien is clear. Nothing could withstand him. Gondor? Gone. Rohan? Overrun. The Shire? Flattened before it was even noticed. And worse still, the Elven rings, bound in secret to the One, would be his. Nenya, Vilya, Narya, the tools of Elrond, Galadriel and Gandalf, turned against them or snuffed out entirely. Even the Valar, the godlike powers of the West, would not interfere again. They already had their chance. They sent the Istari, and the Free Peoples failed. So now, the world belongs to Sauron. Victory would not satisfy Sauron though. He wasn't Morgoth, a destroyer who sought to unmake the world out of spite. Sauron wanted more than ruin. He wanted perfection. Order, hierarchy, control, a world with no chaos, no rebellion, no free will, and the One Ring was the key. From the throne of Barad-dûr, Sauron would not just conquer nations, he would redesign existence. Like a dark craftsman, a Maya of Aule he once was, Sauron would rebuild the world in his own image. The lands of the Free Peoples would not be obliterated, they would be repurposed. Think of Gondor, once the bastion of Númenórean pride, now a black kingdom. Its white tree burned, its libraries gutted, its Palantiri repurposed as tools of surveillance, spreading his eyes to all corners of the realm. What about Rohan? No more cavalry, no more honour. The mark would be stripped of its spirit, its people enslaved to serve in Mordor's fields and forges. Then consider Lothlórien, suffocated, not by fire but by despair. Without Nenya, the magic that kept it timeless would collapse into rot. Or if we sidestep to Rivendell, it would be abandoned, its knowledge absorbed, its power gone. How about the dwarves? Perhaps spared extinction, but only to work. Their ancient halls would be stripped of beauty, their skill bent towards blackened industry. Mithril no longer a symbol of wonder, but a currency of war. And then the hobbits. An accident of fate Sauron never saw coming, but he would not miss them again. The Shire would be wiped clean, its name, its people, its very memory erased. Sauron's rule would stretch beyond borders. He would not be a king, he would be a law of nature. His will felt in every stone, every shadow, every breath. Not just domination, but transformation. And yet, he was only just beginning. With the ring restored to him, Sauron's power would reach beyond armies and into the bones of the world. The Elven rings would be the first to die, not with a shattering sound, but with a quiet unravelling. The preservation of Lothlórien, the hidden strength of Rivendell, the secret fire that moved through Gandalf's words and spirit, all of it extinguished. Because those rings were forged using knowledge Sauron himself gave to Celebrimbor, and even though he never touched them, they were still linked to the One. Tolkien writes, in the event of the One's return, the three would fade, and all that had been preserved by them would fail. No more golden leaves that defied the years, no more twilight songs beneath silver boughs, no more defiance through beauty. magic. The true ancient power of Middle-earth would begin to drain. And it wouldn't stop with the elves, the Astari, the wizards. They were sent to inspire resistance, but if Sauron triumphed, their mission would be over. Gandalf would fall, Saruman would be irrelevant, perhaps a servant, perhaps discarded. Even nature would begin to darken. The Ents, already dwindling, would wither into silence. The great eagles, sacred and proud, would no longer intervene. The stars themselves would seem dimmer, because this wouldn't be the Fourth Age. It would be the end of the Third Age, forever. Sauron's victory would mean the end of history, not because time would stop, but because change had. The world would not burn, it would stagnate, locked in shadow, unchanged, unchallenged, undying, a dominion without mystery, a Middle-earth without magic. If Sauron ruled all, if the free peoples were broken and Middle-earth bent to his will, one question lingers like a shadow over it all. Would he remain Morgoth's servant or become his successor? Tolkien never actually gave a direct answer to this, but there are clues out there. In the First Age, Sauron was Morgoth's greatest lieutenant. Cunning, loyal, terrifying. He believed in Morgoth's power, yes, but he also believed in efficiency, in order, in making the world work. Even Morgoth's chaos in the end was wasteful to Sauron. He wanted the world shaped, not shattered. And after Morgoth was cast into the void, Sauron had a choice. He could have tried to bring his master back, but he didn't. Instead, he hid. He feigned repentance, and when that failed, he began laying the groundwork for a kingdom of his own, and that alone speaks volumes. His new symbol wasn't Morgoth's threefold helm or a sigil of Angband. It was the eye, his own mark, his own gaze, his own will. The eye wasn't looking up toward the void, it was looking down over the realm he was making. So, if Sauron had regained the ring and remade the world in his image, would he have bowed again to Morgoth? It is unlikely, because in that victory, Sauron wouldn't just be the last servant of the first Dark Lord, he would be the first of something new, a dark power who succeeded where Morgoth failed. Not by destroying the world, but by mastering it, a god in all but name. And the most terrifying part? He might truly believe he had made it better. When we imagine Sauron's victory, we think of fire, of ash, of chains, of kings brought low and towers raised high. But the truth is actually quieter. It's darker. The greatest horror wouldn't be domination, it would be forgetfulness. Because evil doesn't just destroy the world, it rewrites it, and that is what Sauron would have done. Gondor's history would be purged, Elendil's name erased, the line of kings forgotten, Frodo, Sam, Aragorn, Galadriel, all remembered only as traitors, or more likely, not at all. The songs of old would vanish, the White Tree would become legend, then myth, and then a lie. The past would belong to the victor, and Sauron was not just a conqueror, he was an architect of belief. He would reshape memory itself. Tolkien hinted at this power, the power of the ring to bend not only will, but truth. Sauron wouldn't need to kill hope, he would make it irrelevant. 1,000 years later, children would be born into his world and would never know it had been any different. They would not speak Quenya or Sindarin, they would not read the tales of Beren and Luthien, they would not remember what the stars once meant. They would live under the eye. And that would be normal. That was the final victory. Not death, not destruction, but a world where no one even remembered to resist. And all of it, all of that, because of a single step never taken. And so, there we have it. What was Sauron's plan truly if he had won? Well, it was a plan that with one step could have come to fruition. That's all it would have taken. If Frodo had faltered, if Gollum hadn't slipped, if the ring had survived the fire, Sauron would have risen not as a warlord, not as a shadow, but as a god. And the world we know, Middle-earth as it was, would have faded into silence, buried under centuries of obedience, rewritten songs, and the unblinking eye. And the scariest part of this entire story is no one would even remember what they'd lost. But now it is your turn. If Sauron had reclaimed the One Ring, who, if anyone, could have stood against him, or would resistance itself have died with Frodo? Let me know your thoughts, theories and opinions on this in the comment section down below. And along with this, if you would like to support the channel in other ways, please consider our Patreon. You can't always rely on YouTube itself, so this extra support will really help the channel stay strong and keep us getting that content out for you. But with that, thank you for spending just some of your time with me today, and I will see you next time on The Broken Sword.